Illinois. I took Illinois to win and cover. I took Minnesota to win and cover. You took Illinois to win and cover. Minnesota sneaks out of this one this was a great football game, guys, by the way. It was clean football. It's only like 58 penalty yards, a lot of third down conversions. Both teams were able to run the ball pretty effectively. There were some great plays made through the air. This was just a good football game. And what it also came down to was a guy who has been lacking all year, who lost you a game earlier in the season, or really, I guess, 2 games. Dragan Kesic comes up big with 4 field goals, man. Former Big Ten kicker of the year. That was awesome. Darius Taylor finally really got going on the ground here, and Minnesota's offensive line, I think, played a lot better.
Best football they played all year.
Best football they played all year, that offensive line. And defensively, you did enough. You forced a fumble earlier in the game that led to a field goal. And then the last possession, Illinois is driving. Luke Altmaier's doing a ton. Yeah, and then they fumble the football. And Minnesota recovers and wins the football game. So this was a really good football game. I'm not down on Illinois for losing Minnesota. I am very impressed with Minnesota. And I do think that Minnesota moving forward can be a problem for a lot of teams. I don't know that they have the talent at all to match up with an Ohio State. But any other team, I think, in the Big Ten, aside from that tier 1, I think Minnesota is going to give problems moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, their last home game in a couple weeks off of a bye is Penn State. Not to skip over Rutgers next week, Minnesota East over there with Kirk and Athan and everyone else.
Kelly McManus revenge game? Or is it a PJ Fleck revenge game on their offensive coordinator over there?
And their DC, too. Joe H. He's a former Minnesota guy as well. But listen, Rasmiak. Back to this game here. I took Illinois, and I was impressed with them, and I thought they ran the ball well, right? They did enough certain times, but also I thought they would be able to really do more. And Minnesota that's been their problems for a while. And after the bye week against Maryland and then against Illinois, other than that one long run, I was pretty impressed with how stingy they were at times. And that caused Luke Altmaier to maybe, force the issue here and there. You saw some 3-and-outs or some punts that just couldn't get going because they couldn't consistently run the football and, sustain drives. It was awesome. It was complimentary football. Like you said, this is a great game. It was a lot more, dare I say, pretty and good football, quality football than you're used to seeing, I think, between these two football teams. And that's a credit to both coaches here with Brett Bielema and PJ Fleck. And for Minnesota, and specifically PJ Fleck, getting a win against Brett Bielema has been a long, long time coming. If you're a Minnesota fan, you remember the days at Wisconsin when he was consistently pounding you guys. You remember the days even at Illinois' last 10 here. 0-3 against him, I think, is what it's been. Good to get a good win here on the road against a ranked team, in Champaign, Illinois. Yeah, and I think both these teams, if you watch this game on FS1, I mean, you were probably watching Big Noon Kickoff. You were probably watching a couple other games here, but I think you saw 2 of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and I think you had to be really impressed with them. Even though they missed some throws, you saw some open guys, some corner routes. I think Daniel Jackson had 2 touchdowns that he had a step on guys, and Brosmer missed them, but I was still really impressed with the way Brosmer played and getting to his second and third reads, putting the ball in good spots for Taylor to run off the catch, Elijah Spencer on third down. It was really, really impressive, and I've been saying it for a while, and I don't know if Darius Taylor was banged up early in the season. I know he missed that first game because I think a hamstring, but 30-plus touches, that's got to be the thing for Darius Taylor. No more splitting time between him and Marcus Major. I know Marcus Major is a talented back in his own right, but you can see a difference Taylor gives you, even when the run is not there. He bounces outside. He makes these big cuts. He runs for a couple tough yards. He is so important to this football team, to this offense, to this running game. Yeah, and for Illinois, I mean, their remaining schedule, you got 3 really winnable games. And obviously Michigan State's playing well, okay? But Rutgers and Northwestern, I guess they're both on the road. But if you're Illinois, 9 wins is really on the table there. And for that program, that is a huge accomplishment, something you got to be really ecstatic about. You're already going to a bowl game, which to me is, right, that's the threshold, in my opinion, right? If you are Illinois, let's make a bowl game. And their over-under was 5.5, and you hit that. It was plus money, by the way. Over-under was 5.5, and you hit that, before November even started. Yeah, pretty impressive.